Well, as we all know, Corona has drastically changed our lives, and this time stopped all of us from our usual activities and put us all on hold. And therefore, I didn't think it was of importance to vlog. This time was more to go inward and to think about what's happening in the world, but also what's our role right now as musicians, and how can we continue and stay positive also and still do what we love. I'm here at the office of Interartist Amsterdam, and Hilke van Lingen is my manager, and he works here in this beautiful office. Well, Casper is a good friend of mine, a great, fantastic pianist. You're the artistic director for Schiermonnikoog Festival?
For one of the festivals.
For one of the festivals. Yeah. And you work as a programmer for Podium Witteman, a Dutch TV show for mainly classical music.
The actual bad news came 12th March. And I was talking to an artist who was on his way to a venue from the UK in the Netherlands. He turned around at platform 1 in Rotterdam Central Station to go back to London, because then the news hit his concerts were not going to happen during that weekend. That was the first one. That weekend would have been the most busiest weekend of all season. So I think during the first weekend we had about 17 cancellations.
In the beginning I was quite devastated, to be honest, because it was just before the Schiermonnikoog Festival. We were about to start, and then we got the bad news that everything was cancelled, and we worked so hard for this festival to make it happen, and then like last minute to cancel the whole thing was quite a heavy blow.
At the end of the day, my ear started sort of bleeding. I was on the phone all day, evening, Saturday, Sunday, all day. And this continued into, let's say, the first 2 weeks. Then we sort of realized this is not going to go away quite fast.
I remember I was practicing for my next concert, which was in Germany, with Rococo Variations, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna pack up and see what's gonna happen. And then my brother's concert, and it seemed so surreal that everyone was just like coming back home with no work, and also everything they worked for was suddenly just off.
I thought it was kind of funny what was happening. Like, oh my God, look at that. What the hell is going on? Like, obviously, cancellation, blah, 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 all of that. I thought it was actually a really funny way to kind of have a holiday.
I mean, it's not the kind of holiday you're wishing for, but suddenly I had like free time and I could really take some rest. And so for like one and a half months, I was actually enjoying myself. I was doing a lot of things I usually don't have time for to do, like reading.
I felt like no pressure for nothing, and then that only took like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Then after it, you're starting to realize, whoa, what does this mean for the long run? And this is not just for 2 months. This is, and it's hitting us in the long term.
All your ideas on how to plan your day, so that means how to plan your future, all of that is kind of up in the air, so you're kind of hanging loose. That I thought was terrible.
So a lot of this lockdown, you could find me here in this little kitchen, and I love cooking. So that's one thing. At the beginning I cooked 3 meals a day, and usually I would also bake something. It was just way too much food here all the time. We went for a lot of walks. I even did some sports in the beginning, also some yoga. And then I would practice. It was kind of a tense situation for the people in this building, I guess, because they all had to deal with practicing, and but unfortunately we couldn't leave, so they had to deal with it. I remember I was quite motivated in the beginning to just, take all the time I had to calmly learn new pieces. And then after weeks or maybe some months even of that, I just became demotivated. It was unclear, there was so much uncertainty, and yeah, it was surreal. It was empty and just quiet, very quiet. In June, the government in Holland decided to open concert halls and other venues for 30 people. This was a positive thing, but also difficult because most concert halls cannot survive with only 30 people in the hall, of course. I started to play, especially locally, some concerts, some little chamber music things and Bach suites. Really beautiful things came to life because people, I think, were hungry to hear music and to see performances. What I heard from people also in the audience is that they were really thankful to be part of something so intimate. I was much more relaxed than before because I knew that I wanted to go back to the stage because I really missed it when I wasn't playing.
Coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're one of the few people who did a complete 2-week quarantine in order to play a concert somewhere.
Yeah, it's sad, no?
No, it's respectable.
Respect, man.
Respect.
Oh.
It's respectable.
Okay. I got a phone call at like 11 in the evening. Some English number, it looked really shady actually. And then was this lady, and she asked me if I could step in and play a Beethoven concerto because the guy was had tendonitis. And I was like, sure. Royal Festival Hall, Beethoven 3. And then I checked only later if I could really make it. And then it turned out that for me to be in England and play, I had to do a quarantine of 2 weeks. And since Corona kind of destroyed everything, it also meant that I had the time to do a quarantine.
Once the concert came, something happened with the amount of audience, right?
6. 60 people in the orchestra. It's so weird. So we did our concert, so to say. London was totally empty and you go to a pub and you have a beer alone.
You mean to
That's
say
really
that
depressing.
it's not just like musically unsatisfying,
But you don't even
it's
get
also
you don't get
socially-
the applause and you have to drink the beer by yourself.
it's mentally harmful.
Of course, the financial crisis was quite substantial for artists, especially, and for us as management. Well, we earn our income in the wake of artists, so we hardly ever speak about it. But our financial losses were very substantial.
So probably the most unsettling and stressful thing in this time was that as a freelancer, if you don't play, if you don't work, you don't earn anything. Looking back, that was very scary, and yet somehow we all survived. Yeah, it was a big scare to see how vulnerable we actually are when our work just disappears and it's not in our hands.
It doesn't make sense that you as an artist have to study for like 3, 4, 5 months on a new cello concerto, working day and night, and only get paid after the work has been done in concert. That doesn't make sense, because you already work during those 3 months, which means that the financial risk is on your side completely. And that's what this crisis made very, very clear. The losses are so much more on your and our side than on the side of the promoters. Of course, they suffer deeply. And we see that, we respect that, but percentage-wise, their loss is less. If your concert doesn't happen, your loss is 100%. And there's international committee working now to see how, in which way we can work with sort of down payments, which would be a major improvement. So that would be one of the best positive outcomes if we can organize the whole business model in such a way that it gives much more sustainability to the artists.
For me, I'm lucky that I have some other things I can also do. It's also teaching, and also, so this makes it a little bit easier for me to survive.
No, but that's great. I think it's kind of what I also felt as soon as they opened halls and venues for 30 people even, I started organizing something because I felt like, okay, if I can't travel, if I can't do any of the concerts, then let's make it happen anyway.
I would say it's hard to be positive for the world now, but
I guess at some point we look back and we're like, oh, that period of COVID, because I mean, people look back at much worse things and they're like,
I mean, it's just really the world is on its ass, and it's kind of. I mean, we cannot really see what it means. I think, just think about what I can do, and then I'm kind of hopeful because a lot is in your own hands. Also, a lot is not.